There's the queen, look. So, I don't know if you can see that. The yellow dot on her back, I use that to identify her. So she's looking in each cell to see if it's empty. So it's quite interesting. I'll quickly give you a little look at it. I've tried to get the camera this time so that the sun's actually shining on the queen. So she's about to lay an egg. Wow, look at that, you don't ever see that. Unless you're kind of looking in an inspection hive or something. She's very happy. The bees are just, see, they're all looking, they're all adoring her and hanging her, you know, just circling her. So that's the queen. Look, she's looking in there. She can lay up to 2,000 eggs a day. So, and she will last for say 2 to 3 years. You see that? A queen laying an egg. So, just to explain about, and before I lift another frame out. So, it's the queen bee. So, as far as everyone's concerned, or the common knowledge is that the queen's in charge of the colony. Can't say this word. Colony. Queen's in charge of the colony, and but the bees are in charge as a you know, society. They're all one. They've all got jobs to do. There's worker bees, flying bees, forage bees, cleaner bees, you name it. So the queen's here. I'll drop her back in a sec. But the idea is they're constantly looking at her, constantly monitoring her. She keeps them very, very happy. She gives off a pheromone. When she's laying like this, she's a very productive bee. She lets off a pheromone that called queen substance, and with that it keeps the bees very, very happy. It's like a perfume which they all love. So they'll all adore her, take this pheromone off her, and then the pheromones spread through the hive. So they're just constantly touching her, checking on her. They'll feed her, you know, look after her. They look at all the eggs she's putting in. But what happens is, as soon as that starts depleting, or she's not laying as well, the pheromone slowly depletes, and there's not enough to go around the colony. So then what happens is, they start to think, something's not right here. So these are different reasons for swarming. So either they'll start to make a new queen. So she's just laid an egg. They'll take that brand new egg, the freshest egg they can get. They get that egg and they'll go and put it in to a practice cup, which I'm going to show. I'm going to show you another frame, queen cup. And what they do is they'll put an egg in there. And then because these are like little flying laboratories, that's what's so fascinating about bees. They have different glands, and they've got 2 stomachs, and they've got little chemical labs. They start producing royal jelly, just a few of them, and they'll produce some royal jelly. They'll put that into an ordinary worker cell with an ordinary bee, and instead of turning into an ordinary worker, hence the name royal jelly, it will turn into a queen cell instead. So it's got really high, it's got different sorts of proteins in it. So normally you'll get a bee, this little bee here, they'll be in the egg, and they'll just put something in there, some pollen and stuff for them to feed on. They'll hatch as an ordinary female worker bee. But once they suspect the frame's getting too big, the hive's getting too big, or she's not as productive, they'll start to make, say, like half a dozen, sometimes more, sometimes only a couple or 1 or 2, but sometimes you open up the hive and there'll be about 15-20 queen cells in there. It's a bloody nightmare. So it's like the Hunger Games. So with the queens, they from being capped in the cell, I'll put this back, so from being put into the cell, within 16 days that queen will hatch. The first queen to hatch will go around the rest of the colony, the hives, all through the frames, and she'll seek out other queen cells and sting them and kill them in the cell. So they'll still be inside. She chews her way out of her own. She'll go around, she'll kill the others. If there's a couple that have hatched, they'll just fight to death. One of them will kill the other one. So, and then there's this thing where, you know, she'll then say, like, the new queen will build her strength up. She'll kind of go out, mate, build the kind of her strength up. Will be fed, build up, and then she'll go. This is one of the reasons, you know, that queen will go. She'll take all the flying bees with her and leave the kind of depleting queen in there. It's a bit, I'm getting a little bit mixed up. There's lots to go through, but effectively this is how the bees start swarming. So last week I moved one of my frames down. Last week I moved one of my frames down, 16, which was empty, because I thought, because it's so productive, I thought I need to have something to do. So this was a completely empty frame, and I don't know if you could see, I'll try and get it so the sun's out. Right inside there's these tiny little eggs. So they would have been laid in there. They're still standing up, so they're only like a few days old. But because she's got work, because she's got somewhere to lay, she's literally laid in the whole of this frame. This was empty. She's laid in all of this. So there'll be more and more bees. If I come to, right, I just come to 6. Right, so this last week this was all uncapped brood. This was all uncapped. So this has now been sealed. This will hatch. I just double check my. So this will hatch in 21 days. So last week, so capped at 8 to 9 days. So in 11 days, 12 days, all this will hatch. So you then have lots more bees in there. So obviously they're building the strength up through the spring. But what they do is these are practice cups. These little things. So you tear these down. You have to break these down. But one day you'll come here. There's another one there. I've counted about 7 in here today. One day you'll come in here, and you'll look inside that little cup, and there'll be an egg in there, and a bit of royal jelly. Like, it's empty at the moment. That's why they're known as practice. So they'll start producing. You'll just find cells with eggs and royal jelly in. There's you know, they're naturally just split. So you need to prevent that, and by the way of preventing it is to give them lots of room to, give the queen lots of room to lay. So they're not kind of getting overcrowded. This is one of the reasons why there's lots of reasons why they can swarm, but another one is the depleting queen. Another one's not enough room to lay. You know, it's too compact. There's too many bees. You know, obviously there's too many bees. They go, and then the new bee, they produce a new bee, because that one's starting to either deplete from laying, or it's just generally getting usurped by a new bee, because they've obviously got lots more hatching. I'm trying not to say too much because it's a bit confusing, but anyway, so there's some on this frame as well. Which I've already broken these ones down. So these on the edge, it's normally at the bottom, but they've put a few here. But at the bottom, they're like thicker cells that stick out more. They're drone cells. So the drones are produced for all the new queens in springtime. Drone. So they're kind of, it's a naturally preparing. There's a cup there. So the drones' jobs, all they do nothing, doing absolutely zero. The guys just hang around, they get fed, they get looked after, they get watered. and then they just fly out and shag a new queen, and that's their sole job. That's all their job is. So they don't do anything else. They don't gather forage. They don't clean. They don't do any housework. I know it sounds silly, but this is all they're there to do. But once the drones are being produced, the drones will fly up and go and seek virgin queens. It's all part of the natural process. Occasionally get a few casualties. You have to just look at that. Come on girls, I'm going to shut you up now. So I'll try and keep it short. 11 minutes already. So the idea is that you've got to keep monitoring every week. Beekeeping, you're allowed to visit beekeeping because it's obviously you're producing food, it's a livestock, it's husbandry, so you need to check on your bees. This time of year the bees will naturally they're building themselves up. Sometimes you come to a hive, it's already got lots of queen cells in it, so you need to look after them. You can't just leave them. I come up here once a week, so I'll be doing bee videos once a week for anyone that's interested, and the newbies that have missed out on their beekeeping courses.